Yes, people, we are back today on FM26 to kick off season number 2 with our Manchester United save, because last time out we finished season 1 while beating Bournemouth and of course defeating Liverpool at the end of the campaign, but they did manage to win the Premier League, which means right now Liverpool have more Premier League titles than Manchester United. So for season 2, not only do we need to attempt to win the Premier League, we will of course also be making a bunch of transfers in this video, and of course also trying to win the Champions League, because if I don't, I have to give away a copy of FM26, and one of you guys also won a copy of FM26 last episode, and that name of person that won it is down there. So if that is your name, please make sure to drop me a DM on Twitter so I can send you over a code. Without further ado, let's get into season 2, because this is going to be a big one. Now, to kick things off, what I've done is I've gone forward a couple of weeks, so we are on the 3rd of June, and I have sort of built a picture for myself, exactly the plan for this transfer window, which I'm going to talk you guys through today. Now, initially, we need to talk about the tactic, because I think this tactic is done. This tactic is absolutely nailed, and I am buzzing of our balanced standard Amorim tactic. We, of course, also have our defensive variation of the tactic, and then finally, I need to create a proper attacking variation. So that's going to be my challenge for this season tactically as well, because I feel like we need to be able to switch into something which gives us more attacking impetus rather than relying on just a balanced tactic and a few changes. I feel like we can get somewhere tactically at getting that extra goal. So that's something I'm looking to creating this season. And then when it comes into players I'm looking to buy, well, if you guys don't know how I normally set up my squads, when it comes down to this sort of thing where we're planning for the next season, I like to pick everyone by the positions where they're going to be playing, and then I also do the exact same on the bench, numbered 1 to 11, so goalkeeper is sub 1, striker is sub 11, and everything in between. And the positions that I've identified, which I'll show you on the tactics screen, is initially the left centre back. I think it's a position that we could do with improving. In terms of the players we could potentially put there is a few, like Lisandro Martinez, who, to be honest, wasn't great last season. Harry Maguire, I think, is definitely a really good rotational centre-back for us. And then Luke Shaw, who didn't play much at the end of last year and is wanted and asking to leave. He's wanted by Sporting, and Lisandro Martinez is also wanted by AC Milan, Barcelona, and Al Ahly. So there's probably about 50 to 60 million in there if we were to sell them to, which would allow me to buy one absolute superstar. Now, in terms of other players, you have sub 5, which is a backup right back for Ahmad. Of course, Ahmad is the starter and will be staying as the starter, but I've put Mazraoui as a backup centre back, as I think that's kind of his best position in this tactic itself. Going forward, he's just not that good. So I'm looking to bring in someone else to that. I am looking to bring in another midfielder as well, and we'll go through some outgoings in just a minute's time. So someone else alongside Mainu, Stiller, and Fernandez to rotate in there. And then finally, the main position is going to be sub 9, which is a backup right winger for Brian Mbeumo. Of course, Mount will be staying after his fantastic performance last season, as will Gonzalo. And the youngsters I'm looking to give more minutes to this year are Jayden Nwashi, Emir Ibrahimov, Shea Alesi, and Chido Obi. That sort of sets up the team and the squad that I want to have for next season, which does leave quite a few players not wanted. Andre Nana, Altay India, both definitely leaving the club. Lisandro Martinez, Luke Shaw, again the same, where I think we're going to look to try and extract the value out of them now. Looking here, 33 to 36 and 44 to 48 million. I mean, it's potentially 70 million on them two alone. Going down into the midfield, we of course do have Casemiro somewhere in here. In fact, I've already got rid of him and moved him down to the under 18s because I'm not going to be renewing his contract. I'm going to let that expire. And the exact same goes for Jadon Sancho as well. I could trigger the release clause on that contract and attempt to sell him, but I genuinely don't think anyone will buy him. He just had a really poor season at Aston Villa again, and I'd rather not take the risk for the potential 2 or 3 million we might get for him. So we're going to say goodbye to Jadon Sancho. And of course, Marcus Rashford and Rasmus Højlund, I would also look to sell. Marcus Rashford, injured currently, will be back in time to sell, which is good. So a bunch of players to sell, a few players to buy. And I mean, I'm not going to go small because we are looking at ending this little mini series at the end of this season. And like I said, I have to win the Champions League. I've got to give away another copy of FM26. So if you guys haven't already, the way we're going to draw that giveaway is on the first episode of this series. If you haven't watched that, but you're watching this, just go back, comment on that video saying you're coming from episode 5 and GGMU. That's what I want to see in the comments for that one. But anyway, I'm going to get into sort of setting up some scouting filters. We'll go through that together as well, because I understand a lot of people are struggling with how to do that on FM26, and I want this to be quite a nice little long-winded episode of us going through transfers and scouting the right players to take this United team to Premier League and Champions League winners. Now, to kick things off, what I'm going to do is set up some transfer room in requirements for the positions that we are looking for, and hopefully this should give us just a few players to kick off our scouting with, so we can really see if anyone's going to crop up from these. I'm not really too fussed on age or anything. I'm more just looking to attempt to see which profiles this is going to give us, because they're the 4 positions we need, and I think this transfer room can possibly give us ideas on where we should spend our money. Past that, of course, we also have the recruitment focuses, which we need to set up as well. Now, I've gone through and deleted all the recruitment focuses that I previously had for last season, as we have got pretty strong ideas on what I'm looking for this season, and I want to basically just concentrate exactly on that. Now, of course, we are looking for a left-sided centre-back. I'm not going to delve deeper into the role we're looking into. We're going to set it as a top priority and a player who is at least 3.5 star and 3.5 star. And again, I'm not worried on age. I'm just looking for a starter. In terms of the right back, I am looking at pretty similar as well. However, I am looking to get a role in here as an advancing wing back, because I want them to be nice and attacking, just like Ahmad. Again, I'm setting it as a top scouting priority, and I'm dropping the current ability down just to 2-star, because they're going to be a strong rotation. I mean, literally probably 10 and 15 games maximum, as long as Ahmad doesn't get injured, because there's no AFCON this season, which obviously hampered us quite a lot last year. And of course, we're going to have Mazraoui as well when we switch into the defensive system. Next up is actually where we are going to do in possession as a right winger and out of possession as a right attacking cam, because of course that is where Bryan Mbeumo is playing, and he's not actually perfectly suited to that role. But if we can get someone who is pretty young, to be honest, I'm looking for an absolute starter. Again, we have got Mbeumo and Cher Lacey as one of the players we're keeping around the squad this season. We're looking for someone that can come in, do a really good job when he does play, and again, be a good young prospect that can play them 2 positions. And finally, it is a central midfielder to rotate with Angelo Stiller. Again, this needs to be quite a younger player, to be honest. I'm looking for a guaranteed starter. He's only 4th choice midfielder behind Bruno, behind Stiller, behind Mainu. I'm looking for this guy to be the next player to bring in to that position. And we should already have some players that are matched and have come back. So I'm going to go through all of these lists and kind of identify the players which could potentially be of interest, and then leave it a little bit and let the scouts go and find some players too. Now, after 2 weeks worth of scouting, I've got a short list of 53 different players throughout the 4 positions we are looking into, which I now need to whittle down. But exactly how I've done this and got these scouts, number 1 is, of course, through the recruitment focuses. We've had a bunch of players scouted, some still being scouted, and a bunch all done, all for every single position. I've also just set up a bunch of Wonder Kids ones, which I want to sign some Superstar Wonder Kids for you guys that do help support over on Patreon. And with this video that comes out on Patreon, I also put the end of Season 1 sort of file, so you guys can go ahead and play this save file as well, if you guys want United in the Champions League for Season 2. And obviously, by the end of this whole 2-season journey, there will be another file that comes out, and I want to leave it with a bunch of Wonder Kids, because I'll be honest, I'm probably going to play the save myself as some enjoyment, not for a video, once we finish this series. So I need to buy some Wonder Kids for myself too. We also, of course, had the transfer room in, and this actually brought back some fantastic options like Nico Schlotterbeck, who has made it onto the shortlist. Ilya Zabani is someone that hasn't, purely because I'm looking for a left-footed centre-back for this position. So there's a bunch of centre-backs here that are on the list, a bunch that aren't. Same going for the right wing-backs. Festia Biosele and Yan Kuto both have made it on. Central midfielders, there's Javi Guerrero, there's Archie Gray, there's Felix Demesha. There's some banging options. And this has really impressed me, this transfer room in, because obviously we've done it now for Season 1 for a full separate video, and we seem to get the same players every time. Now that I've gone like a year into the future, the names that are propping up are so different, which is very fun and very enjoyable because it's going to give me more different players to sign in rebuilds and of course in saves like this. Now I do want to get to a point where every single player is fully scouted, so I'm going to go forward a little bit more. There is something else that has happened, and that's outgoings. We've had offers for Bayindir, for Ugarte and for Lisandro Martinez, and I've accepted all of these deals, which would give us about an extra £50 million to add to the 63 we already have. And something else of course that we do have is the clauses. If you guys haven't looked at the clauses which you could potentially sell for your team, whoever you're managing, they're pretty ridiculous this year. Obviously, they are massive for finances going forward, so it's not good to sell them all. While it might feel like it, you will mess your club up quite dangerously financially going forward. But for example, I can take 21.5 million from this Alejandro Garnacho deal right now. They are meant to pay us 30 because 4 installments of 7.5. But if I want 21.5, I'll take it right now. Same for Anthony. We could take 10 million out of this right now. Dan James, there's clauses for. There's a bunch of different players. And potentially I'm going to do some of this and get a little bit of extra money if I need to. So that's something that you guys, if you haven't done on your saves, check your clauses. Now the first sale is complete, and that is Altar Bayindir leaving to join Sporting. And we also officially say goodbye to Lisandro Martinez. Licha is genuinely one of my favourite players at United in real life. It was such a shame to see another big injury for him. He is nearly back now after, 10 months, which is crazy. I do hope he comes back and really performs, but just in this save, he's not managed to get going too much, and we'll take the 20 million to invest in a new, younger left-sided centre-back. We've also just had an offer for Joshua Zirkzee as well, a £27 million mandatory fee at the end of this, but we pay most of his wages this year. And I don't actually hate it. Of course, these normal type of deals I'm not normally a fan of, but to get Zirkzee out and to give us room to obviously have Gonzalo as the backup striker and Chido, I think we'll do it, and I'll accept the offer purely because I don't want to keep him around and stop other players getting minutes. And we also say goodbye to Manuel Ugarte for £29.5 million to Spurs. Simply just doesn't have the stats, and someone else pointed out as well, his vision is absolutely hilarious. 8 vision. It's like having Stevie Wonder in the midfield. So Manuel Ugarte, yeah, we'll take him and go to Spurs, £30 million. A pretty bad transfer after everything considered. And of most of them sales now all done, we have got £118 million. And the first position I'm going to look into purchasing is going to be the central midfielder. Now, this is a third or fourth choice midfielder. So straight away, I need to eliminate these top 4 players. Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton, Victor Froholt and Carlos Baleba. Victor Froholt looks fantastic at Porto. If you guys are looking for an unbelievable, well-rounded midfielder, this guy could be insane. At 20 years of age, to have them mentals is brilliant, but I just don't have 73 million to spend on him. And pretty much the same goes for all 4 of these. So I'm going to remove them from the shortlist to kick this off. I then added in 4 different requirements that I am looking for players to meet, which is minimum of 13 work rate, decision making, passing and tackling. So I get a good, well-rounded midfielder that's able to run across the pitch like a madman, a bit like Angelo Stiller or like Ugarte, but that can pass the ball. And then someone which, as I said, can pass the ball. And that has given us these 6 options. James Garner, who I'm a huge fan of. I mean, I am actually the proud holder of the only one of one James Garner rookie autograph card from his Manchester United days. So that's how much I like James Garner. He's certainly an option for me to get. So we've got Antonio Blanco at Alaves. I've got Conor Gallagher at Atletico Madrid, who for that price looks really good. Yassin Liari at Brighton. Obviously another Brighton midfielder. Not going for Baleba, but going for Liari could be a clever shout. Hashim Bouadi coming in from Nice. Looks like a really good defensive midfielder. Maybe too much for a playmaker, but I'm going to deep dive more into stats in a second. And then Leslie Uguchu at Burnley as well was actually someone that I was quite interested in United trying to sign before he went there on a permanent from Chelsea, because I think he's a really good player in real life. He brings a bit of height into the team at 6'2". His stats are really well-rounded. Looking a bit deeper, we've got really good tackling, decent marking, obviously good heading with his height, good decision-making. Mental stats are a little bit lacking, which probably will stop me from signing him here. But for this kind of price, if someone's doing like a mid-table to lower mid-table Premier League save, Leslie could be a really good signing. I'm going to remove him from the shortlist as he doesn't quite cut it. If we move on to Hisham Bouadi, as I've sort of said, this guy could be a bit more of a technical player. I mean, with his height straight away, I am put off. But 18 natural fitness, 16 stamina, 16 work rate, 16 teamwork. Maybe not. He's got really good off-the-ball work, really good positioning vision. Stats here look really good. Good flair, which I don't really need him to have, but he is good on it. Good finishing, good first touch, good dribbling out of position, which is good. In terms of traits, he tries long ball passes and brings ball out of defence. He is certainly an option. Yassin Liari, I think, is a really good player and would be very interesting for me, but I do think he's slightly too attacking, doesn't quite have the sort of marking and defensive stats of a true DM, and is maybe a year or two away, which maybe is where Bewadi beats him. So Yassin Liari also going to get taken off the list. Conor Gallagher, I think, is maybe a bit of a Malagate signing part 2. I mean, he does have much better vision with 13. His work rate and teamwork is really good, but his actual defending isn't fantastic. 10 marking, 8 heading. He is, just under 6 foot tall. He is actually quite good. I'll keep him on here for now, but I am certainly leaning towards Bewadi compared to him. But as a second option, could be good. Antonio Blanco at Alaves is interesting. Really good teamwork and work rate. Not quite got the natural fitness. A little bit on the smaller side. And doesn't quite have the technicals. Again, an interesting player, but probably not going to be the guy we go for. And then James Garner. Now this guy, I mean, I don't know why United ever sold him, other than I've said about marking and heading being really important. He's got 10 and 8 respectively, which isn't great, but he does have the determination, does have the teamwork, does have the work rate, has the stamina, has the physical stats. His traits are tries long range passes, plays 1-2s, and shoots from distance. I think if I'm being smart, he probably doesn't quite beat out Bewadi. I actually think Hisham Bewadi is a really good option. Again, the 8 heading, 10 long shots, but better marking, better tackling. In terms of his pros on his scout report is a international, natural fit, resolute characteristics, bravery, natural look up positions, adaptable when it comes to other countries, enjoys big matches, a fairly consistent performer, which is good. And in terms of his cons, there is literally poor heading ability and then would need to learn the language, which is fine. Getting an analysis report on him as well, so we'll wait to see what that says. As for Jimmy Garner, if we check out his pros, would be a terrific signing apparently. We have got the analysis report back already as well. Again, resolute characteristics, consistent performer, works well with a team, natural in a couple of positions. Of course, it's English, which, to be fair, could play a big part because of our registration rules for the Champions League. Counts towards everything, enjoys big matches and a committed player. Poor heading ability and maybe find it difficult to gel into the squad. I disagree. I think he'd be absolutely fine. English player joining Mason Mount, Kobe Mainu in that midfield. And then in terms of our analysis report, cons, he lost possession a little bit too much in the Premier League, but distance covered, interceptions made, pressures attempted, pressures completed, assists, key passes, possession 1, tackles attempted, interception per 90 minutes, clearances, expected assists, progressive passes, are all really good, but the main ones at the top here, distance covered, interceptions made, and being able to press the ball, he's done really well in them 4 in particular, in the top 20 in the Premier League, and as you come down, he's also got the key passes as well. And it might be some slight bias, but I'm currently leaning towards James Garner. I do want to see the report back from Bewadi. I am going to take off Conor Gallagher. I don't remember him from my brain. I want to see the analysis report on this guy because I am interested potentially in what he could bring to the team and a slightly cheaper option as well. And money might come into it. They're both the very similar age. Bewadi 26, Garner 25. It's just going to come down to finances to which one I go for. And also if either of them get picked up because Bewadi is wanted by AC Milan and James Garner is wanted by Al Ittihad. So potentially we could get beaten to one of them, but I am happy to bring in either of these guys. As for the right wing position, I have set out we want dribbling, finishing, decision-making, pace, vision, and technique to try and emulate that Brian Mbeumo position. And we have got 7 different options in here. Now, price-wise, it's all quite pricey, but to be expected for an attacking player. Francis Liliano was actually an old scout position, so we need to get rid of him because he is not fitting the bill for us. Kang-in Lee at PSG. I mean, that could be a very interesting option straight away. Playing off this right-hand side as a left footer, 12 finishing is a little bit low, but good first touch, good dribbling, good passing, great technique, good flair and determination. Poor positioning, which is a little bit worrying for me, and quite weak, so in the Premier League he might not be able to do it. I'm going to keep him on the shortlist because he looks really good, but potentially just a little bit weak for it. In terms of Patati here at AZ Alkmaar, again, 9 strength isn't fantastic and poor positioning on him as well. definitely prefer Kang Lee to him straight away. So not going to be Patati, but a decent option for someone out there. Yakuba Minte has got 13 strength, which is good. Again, only 8 positioning mentally, but the rest of his mentals, again, don't really give me too much, and his stats don't scream out to me. So Yakuba Minte also potentially not that guy. Carlos Alvarez at Levante, 7 strength, 8 positioning again, 6 leadership, good technique, good first touch. I prefer Kang Lee to him as well. And then finally, it's Matthias Sule, who I know I am going to like because this guy in real life is an absolute baller. Strength and positioning isn't outrageous, but 17 dribbling, 15 finishing, 16 passing, 17 technique, 16 determination, 17 flair, 17 agility. Traits-wise, he tries killer balls, he shoots from distance, uses the outside of his foot, which as a left footer is interesting. Plays 1-2s, knock ball past the opponent, tries first-time shots, and cuts inside from the right wing. So he suits exactly what we're looking for in terms of that. He does have decent enough work rate and teamwork to be able to do it off the ball as well. Decision-making's at 13 is interesting. It again might come down to money because Kang Lee could be just as good of an option for us. He likes to try killer balls, places shots, beats his opponent repeatedly, and runs with ball often. So him and Ahmad down that right wing could be really, really good. Defensively, really bad, but that's fine, to be honest. It is his strength and positioning which worry me a little bit, but could be a really good option between about 33 and 47 million compared to Sule at the 50 to 70 million. But again, I'm happy to whittle it down to these 2 players. Do we have any analysis report on either of them? As of yet, we do for Sule. Top 11 in key passes, top 12 in shots, great key passes per 90 minutes, open play key passes as well. I mean, he's a creative genius and he scores goals. It's obvious Sule is a really, really good player. And for Kang Lee, analysis report is not quite as good, to be honest. I don't know how many games he played last season. If we could check out his career, 25 games by the looks of it. Got 2 assists in the 7.17, which is really good. In the league, only 6 starts, 19 off the bench. I mean, he is up against like Ousmane Dembele, to be fair to him, but isn't really excelling in the analysis report. So it's definitely Sule if we have the finances. But the most important position out of all of these has to be the centre-back. I mean, this left-sided centre-back is absolutely everything what we need to improve this summer. I mean, it's the most important position by far. We have got our 10 players to scout through, and price-wise, it's going to be expensive. And with the looks of it, I have some very expensive taste. In terms of our search, we have gone with minimum of 13 on concentration, tackling, marking, heading, acceleration and pace, decision-making, passing, and positioning. And it's brought up 4 players: Murillo from Forest, Beraldo from PSG, William Pacho from PSG, and Nico Schlotterbeck, all in around the 50 to 60 million pound mark. Age profile-wise, Beraldo and Murillo are very interesting. Where did Forest finish last season in the Prem? They finished in 7th place on 55 points, so I'm guessing he had quite a good season for them. We should probably have his analysis report straight away available to us. Blocks, shot blocked, and clearances in the top 30. Good in key headers as well. Isn't great in sort of like tackles won, etc., which is interesting. His scout report, fully understanding the language, brave player, balanced personality, consistent, likes big matches. And of course, in terms of his actual stats as well, Murillo is an absolute beast. I mean, tries long-range passes, which is great. Likes to switch the ball to wide areas, which for Mbumo and Ahmad on the right-hand side is great. And brings the ball out of defence. And I think him and Yoro either side, with De Ligt in the middle, could be incredible. So Murillo is a really, really good option. Beraldo, I think, straight off the bat in terms of stats, impresses me less. Last season for PSG, played 16 games. I imagine didn't start too much, only 6. I'm going to instantly say no to Beraldo. And then there is the potential of William Pacho. 27 games for PSG last year, starting all 27, a 7.19 average rating, which is insane. And he is incredible. He is a ball-playing centre-back, 16 tackling, marking, 14 heading, 14 passing. Mentally insane, great aggression and bravery on him, and great speed. 188 centimeters tall. Refrains from taking long shots. So doesn't have like a cross-field pass in his locker based on his sort of attributes there, which is interesting. His analysis report is really good at possession 1, really good at passes completed. I mean, he's outrageous in the ball by the looks of it. Headers won as well, key tackles. Of course, we have to take into account he is playing at PSG. They are going to dominate the game. But there is no doubt that William Pacho is a top-tier centre-back. And for that sort of price as well, that could be very, very tempting. And then Nico Schlotterbeck around the same price. Slightly more experienced, obviously left-footed. In terms of an analysis report, possession 1 and top 2. Cross completion is interesting. Pass completed by 90, average rating. Key headers, looks very good. Scout report is a perfectionist. Of course, a release clause, so it's an easy deal to do. Consistent performer and loves big matches. In terms of his traits, he winds up opponents, gets crowd going, tries long-range passes, likes to switch the ball, and brings the ball out of defence. And I kind of see the best of both worlds here being Murillo, because he does all the passing stuff, but actually looking at his stats, he is slightly worse, and the price is going to be so similar. I mean, William Pacho is the best player, but doesn't have the traits. But he is the best player, and I am most interested in him, so I'm going to ask the agent. And he is interested in the move as well. He would want about 155 to 210,000 pounds a week. And the deal could be quite easy to do. We can knock that down as well. I mean, I'm going to attempt to bring in William Pacho to Manchester United. For this sort of price, if we can get this somewhere around the 54 million pound mark, 66, let's go 57 plus, once he's hit 50 games, I'll give you an extra 5 mil. They've accepted that as 62 million is 6 million pounds more than Schlotterbeck, but 2 years younger. And I think this is a fantastic option. Now, I'm expecting the contract to be quite easy to negotiate. Of course, he is interested in joining, which is really good. Contract running at £185,000 a week is not going to run. And we're going to try and drop this down as much as possible. Although he's pretty stuck on 185. We've got him to 165, which is decent. Overall wage impact is 200,000. Currently on 88. So we've doubled his wages, but he's come to Manchester United and he is going to be an outrageous left-sided centre-back. Things stand, that leaves us with about £50 million to play with to then get them next 3 positions, which is why I didn't want to start putting bids in for Soulé or for Jimmy Garner, because potentially we're going to have to settle on Kang In Lee and Bewadi, and we haven't checked out the right-back position as of yet either. Now, there is not, of course, as much need in this position. It is a much cheaper position as well. So this is going to be my last position that I look to fill, and I will do that at the end of the window. I think what I might potentially do is look through these clauses and see if there's anything which isn't entirely game-breaking that I could potentially bring in. I'll do that now. For example, £3 million for Hannibal's sell-on clause. I'm also going to take the £3.9 million on the James Garner sell-on clause because, I mean, that just helps us potentially get to him, doesn't it? Of course, we are about to get 30 million for Marcus Rashford as well. There's nothing we can sell in his contract. No, Emeram, nothing in there. Nothing of value there. Willie Campwala, I thought it'd be a bit more than that. And Zach Bauman, nothing there either. So a little bit of extra funds come in. And, I mean, they might have even helped us pay for James Garner. Everton might have just paid us to take James Garner. That's insane. We've just had the Premier League fixtures announced as well, and we will be playing the first month in the Premier League in this episode. So if you guys are excited for that, stay tuned, because once the transfers are all done, we'll be able to see them all in action as well. And we'll be playing the one game live, will be Aston Villa versus Manchester United at Villa Park. So that should be a very interesting fixture. And we finish off the season at Nottingham Forest, where hopefully we lift the title. If not, in this Northwest Derby against Liverpool on the 17th of April, that could be quite fun to lift it too. And hopefully by that point, William Pacho is a Manchester United cult hero because he is signed on the dotted line on a £62 million transfer. He is now here to dominate Old Trafford. The Ecuadorian is going to join De Ligt and Lenny Yoro as our new look back three. And I think it's safe to say now that this team looks really good and potentially ready to go on a potential title charge. So we'll see if that happens this year. I think the big thing we do need is to improve the backups, and that is our next port of call. We've got £66 million left as things stand, of course, with the money coming in from Marcus Rashford and also needing to sell Rasmus Højlund as well as Joshua Zirkzee. So going into the shortlist, I am looking at now the right wing position as potentially the second most important position for us. I think the central midfield position is important, but not as important as this one. And I am really interested in trying to get Matthias Soulé. He is the one player in this shortlist that makes me really excited. So I wanted to try and bring him in. And I'm going to just say we're very, very interested. He will want stupid money, I've got to say that. There will be no way we'll be getting anywhere near that. So it might not be him in the end, but I have to try because he would be insane to get. They're going to just want to take more time, and we'll see if we can get him over the line. They have just negotiated back to us £113 million. I don't know if this deal's going to happen anymore, to be honest, lads, because that is absolutely wild. I say that. They've just accepted 71. Okay, 71 I can do. I can do potentially £71 million. Checking out the recruitment, we still only have 66 million, but all contracts are just ending as we speak. So Casemiro's like £1 million a week is gone. Sancho will be in this list somewhere as well. We could be about to be okay and just about manage to bring in Soulé without the sales of Rashford, Xerxes and Højlund. What is interesting is going to be this finances screen here, because I am not giving him anywhere near this stupid money that he wants. And I am willing to walk away from this deal if he is not willing to sort that out, because I am not paying him more than 210 grand a week. 275. You're a third choice winger, to be honest, mate. I mean, I'm going to just stick to 230. Yeah, we're not going to get Matthias Soulé. He wants simply too much money. He would be absolutely insane, but he just wants a little bit too much. And I've got to say, I don't know if I'm entirely sold Kang In Lee deal, so I might move on to someone else, and that could be Franco Mastantuono. Now, we have mentioned this guy a few times. He does lack in stats, and he's just 18 years of age. He would just be so fun to use. I wonder what sort of the loan deal would be to bring him in, because this would enable us to then go and bring in Jimmy Garner. It's not cheap, I'll be honest. I mean, I don't know what this would actually bring out of our sale, of our actual deal. I imagine it'll be quite a lot. I mean, he's just so good though, isn't he? Of course, if we win the FA Cup or the Champions League, we have to give him loads of money. I'm going to make the offer. And if that comes back and it's not more than, say, 20 million, I'm going to do that deal because it will do us for this season. And I just really want to play with him. And this is very interesting as well. We've just had a big offer for Bruno Fernandes. The good news, he has no interest in joining Real Madrid. And unless I was to get upwards of 100 million, I haven't really got any interest in him going anywhere either. So I'm going to try to reject that and move on from that one. The Franco deal has been accepted. It says here £53 million. If that is what it is, I won't get him, don't worry. What I do find interesting is Rashford is back. I thought he had a £30 million mandatory release clause. Apparently not. So we need to discuss how to get rid of Marcus Rashford. And apparently he has no interest in leaving. Marcus, mate, you will be leaving this club. Intermediary, nothing. Marcus, look. You don't like it here. Marcus, you're lying to me. I know you don't like it here. I mean, I would love you to have stayed here in real life, but, like, you're not going to stay in real life, are you? We're going to have to sell Marcus Rashford at some point. He will be leaving the club. And the same goes for Rasmus Højlund, who has got a £90 million sort of valuation of him, which is criminal. He also doesn't really want to leave the club. Intermediaries-wise, they're not really a lot for him. I'm also going to offer him via transfer room and try and get him to leave. That could be a bit of a pain if we can't remove them, to be honest. We'll have to see. To clarify, neither of them will be staying at the club. They will both be going. And we have now got the decision to make on Franco Mastantuono. It is a £28 million getting deducted from the budget. And I just don't know. I think what it does do is it gives us a player which can play in the position we want him to play at a fairly cheap price, and he's very exciting to play with on the beta. Shoots from distance, plays 1-2s, likes long-range free kicks, switch the ball, cuts inside from the right wing. Has flair, is decently tall, good physicals, dribbling's insane. I just don't know if he gives us output. I'm going to delay it, and I just want to see if I can find someone maybe a little bit older that can give us a better output, as this is a really big year for trying to win the Champions League. So I've just been looking through a list of cams and right wings, and to be honest, none of them get me quite as excited as playing with Franco. Other than potentially Nico Paz, who could be incredible and on this FM looks insane. 17 technique, 17 passing, 18 first touch, 17 dribbling, 16 determination, 16 flair, great vision, decent physicals, 6'1", which adds a bit of height to the team up there as well with Sesko, and then brings his pace and his ability. And I have just had a deal agreed for £72 million, of only 30 million up front. So it's the same upfront cost as Franco. And the contract is all done at £210,000 a week. I think it's potentially worth it to see if this deal can go over the line, because this could be an unreal signing. And just so you know, I did try the exact same deal with Matthias Sule, and they told me it is not happening. Now that is a very nice bonus to just stumble upon out of nowhere. Anthony has just left to join Al Ali, and we've just received £16.5 million from that, which is fantastic and helps make up a few decisions in my mind. Because with them extra funds, I am delighted to announce that James Garner has joined back Manchester United for 30 million and rising an extra 20, so a total of 50 million pounds. But that extra Anthony money has massively helped facilitate that. Adding this kind of midfielder into the squad right now is absolutely perfect because we have unlimited rotation in the midfield, and I genuinely love this guy in real life. As well as confirming the signing of Nico Paz to Manchester United. The 21-year-old Argentinian is here. And my God, does he look absolutely insane. I mean, we're going to have to rotate him, Cunha and Mbeumo all the time. And of course, Mason Mount as well was our second top goal scorer last season. But as I said, we're going for the Premier League and the Champions League this season, and a signing like Nico Paz helps that drastically. And for the right back position, I brought in Mattia Zanotti coming in from Lugano. I don't know all of his stats just yet, but he is 23 years of age. He is more than happy to be a backup option to Ahmad, which is exactly what I need. And based on the stats that I could see, I was very excited by him, and now I actually get to see him entirely. 2.5 star, 3 star, £9 million, good crossing, good physicals, unbelievable mentals, gets forward whenever possible. The perfect backup right back has just been signed. So we now officially have our full squad for this season. And just to remind you guys, the starting lineup is Seni Lamans, Yoro, Delict, Pacho, Dorgu, Ahmad, Stiller, Bruno, Cunha, Mbeumo, and Sesko. With the backup 11 being Gonzalo leading the line, with Mason Mount and Nico Paz in behind, Mainu and Garner in midfield, with Araujo, Zanotti, Mazraoui, Maguire, Aiden Heaven, and Radek Vitek as the backup goalkeeper. And that squad, I think, is absolutely fantastic. Now, I do still have some players to sell. Andre Onana is potentially going to Newcastle for 37 million. Luke Shaw, I'm still trying to get rid of. In terms of other players, there is still Marcus Rashford and Rasmus Højlund, who are both being a massive pain. I have just loaned out Xerxes to Bournemouth with an optional £41 million fee. And in terms of finances, right now we have £17.5 million, but no wage budget. So for now, that is going to be me done in transfers. I'm going to go on to the game against Aston Villa, where hopefully I've managed to sell some more players and I've managed to scout some wonder kids who I'll be bringing in at the end of this transfer window. But I want to play with this team now and see how good we can do. So it is the opening day of the Premier League season, and the Aston Villa team looks absolutely no different. But the Manchester United one, there is a new star in William Pacho starting at left centre-back. Looking onto the bench, of course, we have James Garner and Argentinian wonder kid Nico Paz. The first game of the season's happened already, and Fulham beat Wolves 4-0. It would be lovely to try and do something like that today as Manchester United take on Aston Villa at Villa Park in a huge opening day clash. And it is Manchester United starting off with possession in the 6th minute. Bruno Fernandes and Patrick Dorgu playing some lovely football before Mateus Cunha gets hold of the ball, drives on the left-hand side and faces a shot straight at Emi Martinez. We need to see more from Cunha and Mbeumo this season, because we have Paz waiting in the wings. Now, it's been a pretty boring first half so far. It's 40 minutes in and we've only seen that Cunha chance, but we might have another one here. Hopefully not, because it looks like it's Aston Villa. It's John McGinn playing through Ollie Watkins, beating Lenny Yoro to find Morgan Rogers down the left-hand side. He's got space to run into, finds Harvey Elliott in the box, and we are 1-0 down. A Bruno Fernandes mistake in the middle of the park gives Aston Villa a counter-attack, and they capitalise. It is going to be a difficult game, though. We have dominated what has been played. We are on attacking as nothing was happening on positive. But what might be happening is Aston Villa starting to put the pressure on. Harvey Elliott whips it in, headed clear by Pacho. But it does come back out to Harvey Elliott, whips it in. It's cleared by Sesko, and that is the halftime whistle. 1-0 to Aston Villa. That is not what we wanted to see. We simply have to be better in the second half. And in the 57th minute, I am making the decision, as we have not seen anything else this second half, to get Nico Paz onto the pitch for Brian and Bumo. I was going to do Benjamin Sesko, but we know he has the ability to prop up with a goal. I'm also going to take Stiller off for Jimmy Garner, because I want to see him in this first game as well. And Dorgu is going to stay on because he's playing well. And that is all we're doing subs so far. But Nico Paz and James Garner back on the Manchester United pitch once again. Can Nico Paz kick off his Manchester United debut with a banger goal? We are hopefully going to have the chance to see, as I would love to see us win this ball back. Win the header and get possession. Well done. Cunha, Paz. Look at that. Unbelievable play. Finds Bruno Fernandes. And then he drifts out to the right-hand side. Bruno beats a man. A lovely pass over the top. Cunha. Oh my God. Bruno Fernandes. That is disgusting. That ball right there is criminal. And the finish from Matheus Cunha is insane. I want to watch that again because I have never seen that in FM ever in my life. Bruno Fernandes on the ball, facing up his man, a dinked pass over the top. Cunha chests it down. A lovely finish. And it is 1-1. We now have the momentum to go and get this victory. Now, Sesko has still not turned up in this game, so I'm going to bring on Gonzalo into the game and see what he can do. And I'm also going to take off Dorgu purely because I don't want him to get a yellow card, but I have no one to bring on the bench. Poor selection from me. Defensively playing very poor. We will just stick to Gonzalo for now. He didn't really get running last season, hasn't scored his first goal for the club yet, but I'm still keeping faith that this season he could be a really good backup striker for us. It is Aston Villa on the ball, but well won back by Matheus Cunha. He finds Patrick Dorgu down the left-hand side, driving down the line. Can he beat a man and grab a cross in? He can indeed. It is Gonzalo who hits the post and it goes wide. 3 minutes into this season. That would have been a great start for him. And with just 5 minutes to go, I am cautious of going too attacking as we are away from home. And a draw at Villa Park would still be good enough to see us potentially win the league. And I think we are going to take a 1-1 draw in this game. And I am not complaining, to be honest. We saw an unbelievable goal from Cunha. We dominated the game in terms of shots, 50-50 in terms of possession. And the new players, well, they gelled in and had their debuts, which is important to get back underway. A great goal from Cunha and buzzing to see him get back on the score sheet. And that is it in terms of the live games for this episode. But I am finishing the transfer window as well. So let me show you what's happened because there's been a lot of outgoings. We now have £102 million in the transfer budget, which is insane. In terms of transfer activity happening, there isn't much left to do. If we check out the transfer history, however, there has been a lot that has been done. We have spent 189 million, but raised over 103. Rasmus Højlund and Onana both go to Newcastle. Lisandro Martinez to Barcelona. Bayindir to Sporting. And then we have the loans of Rashford and Xerxes, one to Brentford, one to Roma, and a few other players leaving on loan, all for very minimal fees. Which means that pretty much all of the deadwood is done. I think Luke Shaw is potentially the last player to sell. And I've got over £100 million to now try and buy some sort of wonder kids for the future. Which, as I said, what I'll do is I'll do that. And I'll show you guys the people we do sign. For the rest of this month, I've got Sheffield United, Arsenal and Newcastle. So some very, very tough games coming up. Obviously not Sheffield United, but with Arsenal and Newcastle coming, it will be good to see if we can get to 8 points from this start. A victory against Sheffield United sees us on 4, and then a victory over one of them teams and a draw against one would see us get to 8. And we've already played Arsenal away from home. So let's see what we can do and see if we can have an unbeaten start to this season. Well, to kick things off, we were up against Sheffield United, of course, and I attempted to make our attacking tactic before going 1-0 down because Kobbie Mainoo decided to volley the ball into the back of his own net. But don't worry, because we are going to go on to get a convincing 3 points in this game after Kobbie decided not to do that anymore. Nico Paz and Sesko linked up to get an early goal back to make it 1-1 before an Ahmad corner found William Pacho to get him off to the score sheet to make it 2-1 before a 3-1 came in from a Bruno Fernandes free kick. And clearly the tactic was working because we had 30 shots and 60% possession. However, up against Arsenal, we weren't quite so lucky. And to be honest, we got absolutely dominated. Despite going 1-0 up, we just could not stop Arsenal. After going 1-0 up, I dropped into the defensive system and, well, yeah, it didn't really work. And then when they went back to 1-0, I went back to the normal system and they just tore us apart. Victor Gyökeres's brace made it a 3-1 victory for them before we faced up against Newcastle, and within just 15 minutes we were faced with more disappointment as Joe Linton hit a deflected effort into the back of the net to give them the early lead before we levelled it up in the 25th minute. But that was it in terms of this game. We are not going to come away with 8 points. In fact, only 1 win, 1 draw and 2 losses. And you couple that with the points dropped against Villa, we are down in 9th place on 5 points after 4 games and 5 points off the lead already, which is not very good. I would love to win the Premier League this season, so we will see what we can do with that one. And then we need to talk about a couple of wonder kids I have signed. I've not signed too many, only 2, and they've both gone straight back out on loan to the clubs we brought them from. So nothing too exciting to go on to, but they both do look absolutely fantastic. Number 1 is Renato Inahaga, a Guinea-Bissau central midfielder from Casapia, who is 19 years of age, who has cost me £18 million, but he seems to have all the right stats in all the right areas and looks like a very exciting prospect. And then Peyton Miller coming in from New England Revolution for £5.5 million, which for an 18-year-old left back seems fantastic considering he has 18 pace and 16 acceleration. If he can stay out on loan for the second half of the season, play more games because he's already played 21 for them, develop a little bit more on them technicals, this guy could be one of the go-to wonder kid left backs on the game this year. And they are now both with us, which is very, very exciting. But I have got a lot to do because I only need to play a serious amount of games because I don't really want to come back until maybe January against Arsenal at home, potentially. Potentially we'll come back in January and do a couple more transfer deals. But this second season is going to be just 2 seasons long. We're going to have 1 for the first half of the season, 1 for the second half of the season. So hopefully we finish this save before the beta ends. If you guys have enjoyed this video, and most importantly, the whole Manchester United beta save, please make sure you're smashing the subscribe button and liking the video. It helps me out massively. And I mean, the support has been mental since FM26 has dropped. So just carry that on and do me a big favour and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And I'll speak to you guys next time.